Today, we're talking about something that is massively flying under the radar, and it's about to reshape the global economy. AI is exploding. Everyone knows this. Boring. Everyone knows the AI circle jerk that's happening right now. However, here's what most people don't realize. The United States now has 5,426 data centers, more than every other major country combined. And right now, there are $40 billion worth of U.S. data centers under construction. That's a 400% increase since 2022. This is not a trend. This is a modern day gold rush. So the magnitude of this boom became obvious in early 2024. This is when everything changed. So for the first time ever, the dollar value of data centers being built in the US will soon exceed new office buildings. Okay, so just 3 years ago, data centers were 1/7 of the size of the office market. Now they're about to take over. I come from the commercial real estate background where a majority of our portfolio was in office. We sold all our office portfolio before COVID, thank God. Went into senior living facilities, and then now you can see what's happening with office. It's getting absolutely decimated. So if we look back at November 2022 when ChatGPT first launched, since that moment, data centers under construction surged from $12 billion to $40 billion, as you can see right here. So if you look at this chart, the dark blue line is data center spending. And again, ChatGPT was launched November of 2022. We're right around $12 billion based on this chart. And if you see just 2.5, 3 years later, look at where we're at in June of 2025, $40 billion. This is 3.5 times larger in barely 2 years. And the craziest part, energy projections say we're still very early. Pay attention. By 2030, U.S. data center electricity usage is expected to reach 8.1% of all U.S. power. So to put that in perspective, it was 3.9% just a couple years ago in 2023. Okay, so Morgan Stanley is already predicting a 36 gigawatt power shortfall over the next 3 years due to the explosion in AI data centers. Translation, we need more power, a lot more. That's the entire point of this video. So if we check out this chart, you can see here in 2023, it's 3.9%, 2024, 4.2%, and basically 6 years later, these projections have it doubling. Now, the number of data centers can be deceiving. Okay, so I started the video telling you that the United States has thousands of them, but China is building much larger facilities. They only have around 449 of them currently, but their power consumption is nearly identical to the US. So if you look at China's per capita energy usage, it's grown 350% since the year 2000, which you can see right here. And now it actually matches the European Union. So European Union has been on the decline, China has been on the rise. So this is exactly why I keep repeating the same message. Power will become the most valuable commodity in the world. Why do you think I invest in Bitcoin, you guys? It's literally power. That's how you mine Bitcoin, distilled into this capital placeholder. Again, power and energy is the true currency, not made up dollars. So governments are now entering this AI arms race, if you want to call it. If you're in Whiteboard Finance University, my private community, you already know about the chip war. That's a book that I recommend everyone read for the past year now. But companies, they're pouring billions into compute, okay, computing power. So this entire system needs new sources of electricity, okay? However, what's going to happen if we can't meet that demand? Obviously, prices are going to go up. So this is an NPR article. Please don't destroy me in the comments for citing npr.org. Some people love it, some people hate it. But basically, you can see here that demand for electricity has increased in recent years, partly because of all the new data centers that are popping up. There's a ton of good documentaries about this online, especially on YouTube. I would go check that out. So since ChatGPT launched in late 2022, U.S. electricity prices are up 23%, okay? So since 2020, they're up 40%, far outpacing overall inflation. So demand is rising faster than supply, and the price of power is responding exactly the way you'd expect. So what is the solution here? Okay, so right now, I do have a long-term answer for all of you, but before that, let's get into today's sponsor, Humanoid Global. Silver is in the middle of a massive breakout. Each of the 3 major silver bull markets over the past 54 years have begun when this chart tops, and that's what it looks like today. What is happening right now is being driven by real industrial demand, not speculation. Every major silver bull market over the last 5 decades has started when a certain macro indicator tops out, and from everything I'm seeing, we are right back at that point. What is fueling this is the AI and robotics boom. Silver is not just a good conductor, it is a critical material in the sensors, servers, and high-end electronics powering the technology race between the United States and China. As these systems scale, the demand story becomes obvious. That leads into something I've been researching lately, which is the rise of humanoid robotics. Today's video is supported by Humanoid Global Holdings, ticker RBOHF, which is one of the very few public companies focused on this space. You can trade it through the major brokerages like Schwab, Fidelity, and Interactive Brokers. Here's why I even bring this up. Humanoid robots are still in the very early stages. As of 2025, they make up roughly 0.2% of the global robotics market. That is basically the equivalent of the internet in the early 90s. It is promising technology, but barely deployed. Humanoid Global has indirect stakes in companies like Agility Robotics and Apptronic, alongside names like Amazon, Nvidia, Google, and Mercedes. So you are essentially getting exposure to the early ecosystem forming around this technology. Meanwhile, China is treating humanoid robotics as a national priority, while the United States is moving forward through private capital and innovation. That difference is very interesting from an investor standpoint because humanoids offer the potential for 4 times human productivity, running almost around the clock without fatigue. If they scale, they could reshape manufacturing, logistics, and even national defense. As always, do your own research, but this is one of the most interesting emerging themes that I'm following heading into 2025 and beyond. Okay, so right now, nuclear is considered the most promising long-term answer. So unlike solar or wind, nuclear plants, they run 24/7, they match AI's constant energy draw, and at $71 per megawatt hour, it's one of the most cost-effective energy sources we have. But here's the problem. Large nuclear plants take forever to build, okay? We're talking 10 plus years in the United States right now. So the US has 0 large reactors under construction, but China, check this out, they have 29, okay? So whoever solves this bottleneck, whether it's small modular reactors, new nuclear technology, or alternative power solutions, that company is going to become one of the largest corporations on the planet based on all this demand that we're seeing for these AI data centers. So if we take a look at this chart right here, this is PRIS. This data was compiled by Goldman Sachs. China has 29, India has 6, Egypt 4, Russia 4, Turkey 4, and then everyone else has 1 or 2 under construction. So everyone keeps asking, what's the next big thing to invest in? In my opinion, it's got to be energy. It always has been, especially as humans are becoming more and more tech and digital forward. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think we're going to be sitting there rubbing sticks together, heating our houses with, fire and coal? Some places are, especially after the Russia-Ukraine war. A lot of Western countries went back to using coal, which is kind of funny and ironic. Not funny, but you know what I mean. It's ironic. So people, they keep focusing on chips, okay? GPUs, NVIDIA, obviously these are going to be huge catalysts during this AI boom. Some say it's an AI bubble, but we may get into that in another video. But meanwhile, Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, and OpenAI, they're already announcing $800 billion in commitments for new data centers in 2025 alone, okay? So none of that matters without electricity, though. Okay, the next big thing, the next trillion-dollar opportunity, the next global bottleneck is always going to be power. Power is always going to be number one. Without any power, none of this works. So AI data centers alone are on track to consume 1,600 terawatt hours by 2035. Power demand from AI data centers to quadruple in 10 years, which is about 4.4% of global power supply. So without dramatically more electricity, the AI revolution simply cannot happen. So if we look at this chart right here, you can pause it and take a look at this, but you can see how much it's increased just from 2016 alone. So when people ask me, Marco, what should I be paying attention to? What's the next macro shift? What's the next big thing? Where's the opportunity? Where's the alpha? So obviously, I've been talking about Bitcoin since 2017. If you've been listening to me since then, you've done very well for yourself. But none of this works without power, okay? You have to follow the power. So everything, AI, data centers, chips, automation, robotics, cloud computing. This all depends on one thing, and that's energy. If you look at all these big, I don't want to call them celebrities, but like the Bill Gateses of the world, the Elon Musk, they always talk about two things: farmland and energy. Okay. It's kind of like the yin and the yang. You have Bill Gates buying up all this farmland, but he's also a technocrat, right? He's all about energy units, almost being like the future currency of the world, which it's going to be. It's inevitable. So why would we be using paper literally paper made up money when everything's going to be dictated by energy and power in the future? So the companies that solve this shortage, they're going to define the next decade of investing. And hopefully, if you got value out of this video, it took a lot of time to research and put all this together. Please share it with 1 or 12,000 or 13,000 friends. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much, and have a prosperous day. My phone just ran out of battery. Damn it. Now I got to interact with real people in the real world. Fresh air, oxygen, sunshine.